The third-ranking House Republican Mike Pence told the Detroit Economic Club today that he's still pushing for a permanent extension of all those tax cuts. And I spoke with the Indiana Republican earlier today about whether the GOP and Democrats will be able to reach a compromise before January 1st. Please take a listen. We welcome back to the show Indiana Congressman Mike Pence, a member of the Republican House leadership. Mr. Pence, welcome back.
Thank you, Larry.
Before I get to your barn burner of a free market speech you've just given before the Detroit Economics Club, I just want to talk to you about Washington for a second. President Obama has a meeting tomorrow with the House and Senate leadership. I assume tax cuts are going to be on the menu, and I just want to ask you what everyone wants to know on Wall Street and the rest of the country. What is going to happen with the Bush tax cuts?
Well, look, we'll know better by tomorrow, but it is the hope of House Republicans, and it's my hope that this administration will finally give some evidence of having gotten the message on November 2nd. Look, the American people know that higher taxes won't get anybody hired, and that raising taxes on small business owners isn't going to put Americans back to work. And so extending all the current tax relief. I've introduced a bill with Jim DeMint that would extend all the current tax rates permanently, but let's get on the table extending all the tax relief and make it clear before this Congress adjourns sine die at the end of this year that no American's going to see a tax increase in January, not one.
There's two issues that seem to be coming up in recent days, Sunday talk shows and whatever. One is a millionaire's tax bracket, and secondly, extending tax cuts to the extension of the unemployment compensation. Your thought on those two?
Well, look, this is more of the push me, pull you, Dr. Doolittle approach to Washington policy the American people are tired of. Look, here's an idea. Let's have an up or down vote on their version, on our version, and see where the cards fall. I honestly believe that if we had a fair up or down vote in the House of Representatives, extending all the current tax rates, I think it would pass overwhelmingly. But the American people are not interested in more horse trading with their economic futures in Washington, D.C. I hope what comes out of that meeting at the White House tomorrow is an administration that says, we heard it, we got the message, we're interested in pushing the leaders of our party on Capitol Hill to make sure that we avoid any tax increase in January, and we'll keep hoping against hope that is the result.
What I gather is if there's no deal by December 10th, the IRS is going to send out a bulletin to everybody raising their withholding rates.
Well, that's exactly right, and it's, we've been saying since last summer, if Congress fails to act, every American will see a tax increase on January 1st of next year, every single one. And the very idea that Congress and this administration would allow that to occur, allow some portion of that to occur in really the worst economy in the last 25 years is unthinkable. Look, Republicans are clear where we're at. We think all the current tax rates should be extended. I believe they should be extended permanently, but let's start on that principle. Let's have a fair and open vote, and I expect in the House and the Senate, with the President's signature, we should be able to get that done before the end of the year.
Let me shift gears to your Detroit economics speech. I have one of the drafts. It's a free market barn burner. What is basically your message?
Well, my message is that that it's absolutely imperative that we put our fiscal house in order in Washington, D.C. And whether it's the Pledge to America or some of the worthy aspects of the President's Debt Commission or proposals by members of Congress, fortunately, we have Washington now beginning to focus on fiscal discipline and fiscal restraint. But my message here at the Detroit Economic Club today was the same as what Margaret Thatcher said back in the 1970s, and that was we will not get where we need to go with cuts alone. We will not get there with restraint. It will require us to embrace the building blocks of our economy that will restore incentive and create real growth. And I use the backdrop here in Detroit of the Economic Club to say we know what those building blocks are. They're sound money, they're trade, they're tax relief and reform, they're regulatory reform and energy, and I tried to make a thoughtful case for that today.
All right, Congressman Mike Pence with a barn burner at the Detroit Economics Club. Thanks for coming back on the Kudlow Report.
Thank you, Larry.
All right, once again, thanks to Indiana Congressman Mike Pence. By the way, there's much more of the interview, including more details about his free market economic growth agenda, including a flat tax proposal and reform of the Federal Reserve. And, of course, I asked Mr. Pence about a 2012 presidential run. If you want to catch his answer, it's now up on my website, kudlow.cnbc.com. It's all there with Mike Pence. Up next tonight, why President Obama is warming to a federal pay freeze. Well, and could a Bush